If I could ask you a final question about an issue that I think sounds really good, but perhaps has a few problems going forward, and that is, the government has been called on to have minimum staff to patient ratios. It didn't go that far because there's an obvious skills shortage, so perhaps that's why it didn't do it. But instead, it said that there needed to be a minimum 200 minutes a day. How could that possibly be monitored? So the announcement was made in the budget, but there was no, it seems, requirement to actually be held to that. Is that your read of it?
Yeah. It's a really good question, Laura. So the Royal Commission made a recommendation that we increase the care minutes provided to aged care residents in 2 stages. So we would eventually get up to 220 minutes of care a day. The government just fobbed that recommendation off and said that it was only going to make a moderate increase to care minutes of 20 minutes a day per resident. Now, you make a really good point. One of the things that's been awful about the government's package is the lack of transparency across a range of issues. Just one example is the government has given a $10 increase per bed per day to aged care providers. It's $3.2 billion of that overall package with essentially no strings attached. Now, there's no reason for aged care providers to spend that on care, which is what it should be spent on. And you make the point about care minutes. I've already heard stories of aged care providers saying that they're going to count the time that a cleaner is in a resident's room as care minutes, that they're going to try to count the time that carers are updating medical charts and other things of residents while they're on their computer, when they should be, having the time to spend with patients. So unfortunately, if we take this approach to aged care in Australia, where essentially we're not willing to crack down on dodgy providers, we're never going to see the type of change that we want to see. And that was what the government's proposal put forward, a whole bunch of additional dollars going to providers, essentially with no strings attached. And I just don't think that's the right approach.
Just finally, and it's completely off topic, I want to ask you about this curry announcement today. It's been pushed by some locally, but what do you think about it?
Sorry, Laura, I didn't catch the announcement.
The $600 million to a gas-fired plant, a power plant in Kurri Kurri. It's in the Upper Hunter region. There's maybe a little by-election, a few marginal seats there going into an election. And it comes just a day after the International Energy Agency has said that the use of fossil fuels needs to wind down dramatically in the next 15 years.
Laura, I haven't seen the announcement, so it's probably not such a great idea for me to wade into commentary on it, but I'm sure Chris Bowen will be out today and making some comments about that.
Indeed. Yep, that was our question without notice. Thanks so much, Claire. We'll speak to you again about aged care. Appreciate it.